12 of them. So what happens here, ladies and gentlemen, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And Jayson Tatum finishing strong, and now Boston forces a Game 7 on their home court Sunday. And for more, let's welcome in CBS Sports NBA insider Bill Reiter. Bill, Jayson Tatum, what happened? He went from 3 points through 16 in the fourth. What changed?
Yeah, you know what? Nothing in terms of his confidence. And he said it after the game in the courtside interview. He thinks he's one of the best players in the world. It is one thing to say that. It's another thing, Akeem, to actually believe it, especially in an elimination game on the road when, as you noted, you start 1 of 14. That is pure guts, pure confidence, pure swagger, pure excellence. I was getting ready to talk to you about that being one of the worst playoff performances I'd ever seen from an actual superstar. And instead, we're talking about the fact that he shrugged all of that off and took over that game and set up that Game 7 back home in Boston for the Celtics.
I mean, my goodness, watching him in the fourth quarter just cook, like that gives you hope now, because all of a sudden you're thinking here, okay, well, Boston Bruins got knocked out in the first round. The Celtics trying to get back to the NBA Finals. They get knocked out. And now Jayson Tatum gives you life Game 7 on Mother's Day back in Boston for a chance to go on to the Eastern Conference Finals. But for Philadelphia here, Bill, the 76ers missed 8 straight shots between the 6-minute mark and the final 20 seconds in the fourth quarter. Joel Embiid got his. This falls on him as the MVP and the 2-time leading scorer in the NBA in back-to-back years. But what happened to Philadelphia down the stretch?
Yeah, total abdication of any responsibility from every single person on that floor. Yes, Embiid certainly, you're right, as the MVP, has to be better, has to impose his will. James Harden did not make a single shot or score a single point in that fourth quarter, which is classic James Harden before this series when he would just suddenly shrink in the moment. And I think I got to point out, Akeem, because you saw Embiid and Harden walking back with, $1:20 left in the game. Plenty of time, right, to at least continue to fight, which goes to coaching and goes to whether or not Doc Rivers has lost his locker room or whatever is going on. Doc Rivers is a guy who has blown. His teams have been up in a series 3-1 3 times and have lost those series. That's 3 of the 13 times that's happened in NBA history. And a joke going around my cell phone, texting with a bunch of NBA folks the last few days, because I've been a little critical of Doc, is, Doc Rivers finally going to close the series, Reiter. You're going to have to write an apology. You have to say an apology when you're on with Akeem on CBS Sports HQ. And here we are again. It was an absolute collapse with a lack of effort or belief from that Sixers team in the entirety, I think, of that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, this is an embarrassing loss for Philadelphia when you score 13 points in the entire fourth quarter and Tatum has 16. That's a look at yourself in the mirror. What are we made of? That's what this is, right? Because if you're Philadelphia, you have a 3-2 series lead. Doc Rivers is looking to avoid his 7th blown 3-2 series lead, would be the first with Philadelphia. I mean, we joke about, as you mentioned, this trend, history keeps repeating itself for Doc Rivers. Wherever he goes, it's like, okay, well, my team takes a 3-2 lead or a 3-1 lead, and they can't close the door.
No, I mean, the joke the other day when it got to 3-2 was the Celtics had the Sixers right where they wanted them, down 3-2 in the series, but it's not supposed to go that way. And another note, I think, in just this going against the pattern that we've seen, I know the Celtics were great. They were great defensively in the regular season, but they haven't been in the playoffs, Akeem. I mean, the fact that the Sixers couldn't even get to the 90-point mark, based on what we've seen from the Celtics so far in these playoffs, that's about Philadelphia not getting it done. I don't think it's as much about Boston suddenly refining its defensive mojo. And this is just, you said it, it's an embarrassment by the Sixers. It's a humiliation by Philadelphia. And the magical thing about sports is that there's a Game 7. If Philly wins Game 7, I don't think they're going to, but if they win Game 7 in Boston, nobody remembers this game. None of it matters. Everybody's a hero. You know, Harden's great. Embiid's the MVP and deserves to be. But if they don't, I think the ramifications for this organization, from Doc Rivers to Joel Embiid's frame of mind. Remember, James Harden, there's plenty of rumors. You talk to executives around the NBA, Akeem, they think Harden may very well be a Rocket next year and not stay in Philadelphia, even though the Sixers want him to stick around. There is a lot riding, not just self-respect, although that too. there is a lot riding for this Sixers organization and the people who make it up in the most important ways in Game 7 in Boston on Sunday.
Yeah, can't be stated enough. Massive amounts of pressure on Philadelphia, on Joel Embiid, on his legacy and what he has meant to that organization. Of course, winning MVP, but you win an MVP, that's great. Winning a title is what cements you as one of the all-time greats. I'm not saying anything bad about what his future may hold in terms of Hall of Fame status and all of that, but this is a chance here for Embiid to cement his status. And now we're going to a Game 7, so the pressure is certainly all on Philadelphia. And you consider last year the Celtics were 3-0 when facing elimination in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Won Game 6 and 7 against the Bucks, then Game 7 against the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. What is your expectations here for the Game 7 when you consider what just happened here in Game 6 as Boston rallies in the end thanks to Jayson Tatum?
So I have to say it's been the most bizarre, upside down, weird postseason I can remember. So maybe this analysis will go by the wayside like half the things we've talked about. But it seems like it almost feels like series over, Akeem. I mean, Jayson Tatum, you got to win a game anywhere, but especially your home floor when the opposing team's best player starts the game 1 of 14. How do you not win that game? And the fact that not only did Boston win the game, but that Tatum sort of, as we discussed, found his rhythm, found his confidence, and poured in 16 points in the fourth quarter. My expectation is he's going to be just fine at home in Game 7. It's not going to be another 1 of 14 start from the field. I think the Celtics' defensive effort's probably going to click back in just because of what they were able to do in holding the Sixers this number of points. And I think, as we discussed, all the pressure goes to Philadelphia and Joel Embiid. And you pointed out, we forget winning a championship, the guy has never come close. He hasn't. The road is wide open. This series was within their grasp. We haven't seen his ability to handle that kind of pressure. This is classic James Harden, and I like the guy, and I'm just being honest with you. Like, let's not pretend here. He had a couple outstanding games in the series. He vanished in this game, and he vanished in a fourth quarter where they could have advanced. That is part of his history in the playoffs. Hard to have a lot of confidence he's going to be able to step up. So you just look at the totality of where we are, it feels like a huge advantage for the Boston Celtics, and they're likely moving on to the conference finals once this game is over on Sunday.
Yeah, and I want to point out, because you and I spoke after Game 2, and Jayson Tatum had 7 points, and they still won that game big. I mean, they blew out Philadelphia. I think the final score 120-187 in Game 2, and he had 7 points. And I said, what if I told you Jayson Tatum would have 7 points, they still win? And you said you're going to be crazy. I mean, they won this game on this night, and he had 3 points through 3. That's why you always watch till the end. You never leave early. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's a cliche. It's what it is. You don't leave early because you never know what you're going to see. And Jayson Tatum putting on a show in the fourth quarter, rallies his team to victory to force a Game 7. Bill Reiter breaking down for us here on CBS Sports HQ. Bill, thanks. Man, I mean, we were ready to move the 76ers on. We were like, okay, 76ers on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2001. Now that has to wait. Jayson Tatum. Look at that. I like that. He's him. He wasn't him for the first 3 quarters. He was not him. He was somebody else, not Jayson Tatum. But in the fourth quarter, he was awesome. 16 points in the fourth quarter. Again, he started 1 of 14. Helps carry the Celtics to a Game 6 victory, forcing a Game 7 back on their home floor on Sunday. Coverage continues here on CBS Sports HQ. Doc Rivers at the podium. He's got some splaining to do.